Liam Coen, offense coordinator from Kentucky, here with Will Levis, quarterback here at Kentucky as well. Would love to thank the Citrus Bowl for having us down here. It's an unbelievable experience so far. A great opportunity for our players to come down and play a very quality opponent in Iowa, specifically speaking on the defensive side of the ball. And love to thank the University of Kentucky for promoting us and having us in this bowl game. It's a big-time game for us, and super excited to be here. So this is a great opportunity for us as coaches, as staff, and players to be down here at a great venue, have a great time, and play in a big-time game. So open it up for any questions now.
Hey, Will, I know you've faced this Iowa team previously. How are they similar? How are they different? And how have you changed since that game?
Pretty similar, honestly. I think their tendencies and the first thing that sticks out to you when you watch their film is just how disciplined and how consistent they are with their techniques and their coverage discipline, and little things from when they play certain coverages and certain down and distances have changed a little bit, but the same coverages that you've seen in the past with them are the same stuff that you're going to see this year and what we expect to see as well. And that doesn't necessarily make it easy at all. It's because, like I said, they're disciplined, and even though you might know what you're going to get on a certain coverage, it's something that it's a defense that it takes a disciplined offense to combat that. So we need to make sure we go out there and play cleanly, and as long as we do that, I think we should be able to do some good stuff.
Coach, the quarterback and your top receiver familiar to Iowa. How do you weave people like that together who've been, in other programs, learned other things, focused on other things, and make it work so fast?
When you have quality kids in the program already, I think that's a big-time advantage when you do bring players in from other organizations, other programs, specifically speaking from the transfer portal. When you already have a strong culture and strong players within the program, I think it's easy for you to bring in quality kids and good players into the program, and they mesh very well with the guys that are already there. We brought in some guys from the portal, but they were of the utmost respect in terms of on the field, off the field, in the classroom, socially, doing all the right things. Speaking of specifically on the offensive side of the ball, Will and Wandell, and then Dare Rosenthal as well up front for us. So being able to mesh it really wasn't that difficult because of the guys in the program were yearning for a leader like Will, a playmaker like Wandell. And I think that was something that we needed, that the program needed, and ended up working out pretty well.
Yeah, Liam, I'm curious, from day one until now, what ways has Will improved the most, and how has he made you a better coach, you think?
And from the improvement standpoint, that's what we always talk about with Will, is every single day of practice is him getting another rep at being a full-time quarterback. Every single 7-on, every single blitz period, every single team period is an opportunity to get better, because it's still learning how to play the position, because he wasn't used to play this position in years past. And that's why I just think that the ceiling is so high for him to be able to play at a high level and continue to push himself to get better and better. He's not going to just continue to take practice reps to take reps. He tries to practice to get better every single day. That's what's fun to coach him. That's what's a challenge to coach him, is that you better be on your stuff. You better be ready to go as a coach. And when you don't, you can tell he gets bored. And that's something that, it's on me as a coach and us as coaches to challenge him daily, both mentally and physically with some things. And that's going to be a big-time emphasis for us this spring, is continuing to challenge him both mentally and physically to get better. But he definitely raises the standard in the room, in the offense, and as a coach.
Yeah, this question's for Will. And in some ways, from a distant point of view, Wandale kind of reminds me a little bit of one of your other former teammates, KJ Hamler. In what ways maybe are they similar? And then what does Wandale mean to this offense? Because he really seems to have taken off the last couple from what he was a couple of years ago.
Well, they have the same number, so that's the one thing that's similar. But No, when I started working out with Wandell, I instantly kind of made that connection. Obviously, like, they're on the shorter side, so like that's a connection. They play kind of similar slot position, but they're both very instinctive players and football smart. And you talk to Wandell, he'll tell you a lot of things about not only the receiver position but football in general that the average fan will not know and the average player will not know. And he just kind of gets it. It's like he's something that you got to work for, but it's also natural ability and natural instinct, I think. And he's able to take a certain route, the teachings from a route, go into a practice versus a coverage versus that we haven't even talked about, and understand what's going to make it work as best as possible. And that's something that is hard to find in a receiver or in a player in general. So, I mean, obviously he's got the playmaking ability, he's got the agility, he's got the speed, and he's got just someone who I can trust throwing the ball to all around. So, great player to have. And KJ, I played a little bit with him when I was there, but definitely very similar. And I think that just as KJ's had success at the next level, I think Wandell can too.
When I was here talking about the running game, they mentioned the running game a couple of times. For both of you, when you first saw Chris Rodriguez, what were your initial thoughts? And now that you've been with him for the last 6-7 months?
To speak to when I first got to know Chris in the spring, I mean, he was coming off a little bit of an injury, so we didn't see him all that much in spring practice. We had him practice, but we didn't really see him live. I didn't see him live all the way through, till training camp. I'm not even sure we did too much live, so you don't get a full feel for Chris until you truly go live and people need to tackle him. That's been the thing that has been probably the most impressive since getting around Chris is once you get him going, he's just rarely going to lose yards. And, I think that seeing something, he leads the country, I think, in like 4-yard carries over the season. That's efficient. He's an efficient runner. He's difficult to take down. And that's part of this. The big part of this offense is being able to run the ball efficiently, being in manageable third down situations, which has helped us throughout the season, and keeping people off balance with the quarterback run game as well. So I think it all ties in together. But he's been a special player for us this season. I think Will can continue on.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely unique in just his style of running. He's not necessarily a guy that's gonna always make someone miss at the next level, but he's always going to fall forward. It's very rarely you see him get tackled by the first guy that makes contact with him. And like Coach said, it kind of took until that first live scrimmage or the first game really to even see what he's really capable of and what makes him so special as a player. I mean, he's been a key player in this offense for a few years now for a reason. And he's a great kid and a great teammate and just someone that we're really lucky to have on the team.
Will, you've said often that you don't think the offense has played this best game yet. For both of you, what does that look like, and how do you get there? How do you play that complete game?
I mean, I don't think there is ever going to be a point when we think we'll reach our full potential, because I think there's always room for growth. I mean, personally, for me as a quarterback, kind of going back to your first question, what I've improved in most is just the comfort aspect of the position. Like Coach said, that really just comes with reps, and that really comes with seeing different looks in a variety of different ways, and the more looks you see and the more reps you get, the more comfortable you're going to be. So I think as long as it's the end of this year, or for as long as I play this game, I'm always going to be striving to get better and better and better physically, mentally, what have you. But I mean, I think our best game is kind of a sum of what our offense has done all season, which is being able to run the ball effectively and throw the ball effectively on average throughout the board. We haven't done both necessarily extremely well in many games, but I think we've averaged something like 200-plus pass, 200-plus run throughout the season this year. So I think like playing at our best, assuming that the defense we're playing allows us to do both, is having just that good balance of run and pass. And we look to do that every week and be prepared to do well in each of those areas each week.
Last call for Will Coen. Coach Soups obviously has a lot of Iowa connections. Have you been hearing him talk about that? And is there any extra added motivation to give him a win against his alma mater?
I haven't heard anything, honestly, from him. Obviously, he likes to win whoever we're playing, but personally, I mean, I think he'd tell you that it does fire him up a little bit, but he hasn't made that a storyline in the locker room or anything this week or this past month at all, really.
He's spoken of great respect, for the program, for Coach Ferentz and for what they've done there, and it's more just like a respect thing. I think a mutual competitive respect for the game, for how they play the game, for how they're coached. That's some of the things that he's emphasized to our players and to our staff about just respecting the game, respecting your opponent. He says that every week, but specifically these guys because of the way they're coached and the way they play.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about your offensive line.
Yeah.
We haven't asked it. It seems pretty dominant on film, one of the best in the country. What's helped take it from being a good line to a great line this year?
I think that it really started with Coach Schlarman and how these guys have been coached, prior to being, to our arrival. I mean, these guys were very well coached. They had a sense of pride in the room for years. And when I arrived, that was the first thing that kind of stood out to me was just the demeanor in that room, in the offensive line room. And I think that was instilled in those guys from years past. But I think that this year, just adding a little bit of different variety in the run game has helped our players have success, I think, up front, and also just the leadership that we had up front with Luke Fortner, Darian Kennard, Horsey, all those guys that have played a lot of snaps have been able to step up and continue to play a lot of snaps and stay healthy for us this year for the most part. So we go as they go. When we break the huddle, that's exactly what we want the defense to see first. And they've been unbelievable for us this year.
Yeah, I think too, like just with like you said, the diversification of like the schemes that we've been running compared to what they've ran in the past, bringing new offense to a line that's pretty experienced and are used to running certain concepts. It kind of took a few games for us to kind of find our true identity and like what our bread and butter is in terms of what schemes work for our best for our offensive line. And I think Coach did a really, really good job of seeing what necessarily we would like to work but isn't working well. We don't really want to change things mid-season, and what is working and what we want to build on from that kind of midpoint on the season on, which I think we've done a really good job on in the second half of the year. So we know what we're good at, and we try sticking to that. But we're good at a lot of stuff, so we're looking forward to bringing everything we can to the table in the run game.